Hey, what's going on, guys? Field Agent Reaper here, back at it with another video, and today we're doing a pretty cool video. It's actually going to be about box logic. Now, Hens just did a video talking about this very subject, and I actually really liked it. And I was thinking that I wasn't going to make this video because of the fact that it's going to be in the Pinhead guide, but I actually wanted to make this video simply for the fact that I thought it would actually be nice to do an actual full video talking about it directly, but it will be in the Pinhead guide just to keep everything all together, kind of like a nice little pamphlet. But in this video, I'm actually going to be showing how to juggle the box a little bit and how you can get started. So, if you're playing Pinhead and don't know what box logic is, there is this system in place that basically helps determine where the box is going to spawn every single time that the box respawns on the map after the box has been solved, you TP, anything along those lines. And the way it works is there is a 40-meter circle around Pinhead and a 16-meter circle around all 4 survivors. With this in mind, every single time the box spawns in, meaning when you hear the little bell chime, the box is going to spawn on the map using these parameters. Now, there is a little bit more specific details on how this system works, but I'm not going to go over that just because it's going to confuse people, and it's not really necessary. So all you need to know is that whenever the box spawns in, it's going to try and spawn as far away, usually, as it can from all of these ranges around all the characters. So I'm actually going to show an example right here really fast before we get into the gameplay and what I'm talking about. Here on the map, when I spawn in, I'm using Lethal Pursuer kind of as a training wheel perk, as I'm going to suggest to all of you trying to learn box logic. Lethal is probably one of the best training wheel perks for Pinhead for this very reason. You actually don't need it, but for this video we're going to use it just because I'm going to assume that most people want to start easy before they start getting to the more difficult box logic juggling. But you spawn in and you can see that the other 4 survivors are on the other side of the map. Now, with this in mind, there is a nice little spot here next to us on the map where there's probably a good 30 to 40 meter range where there's just nothing except basically, you know, the map itself. There's no players, you're not there. So we're gonna walk over here, and if you walk over here, you're actually gonna see that the box is right here. Now, when you pick up the box and you solve it, everybody is going to scream, and you can kind of use this as a makeshift Lethal Pursuer, but obviously after the start of the game, and you can determine where the box is going to spawn again. 10 seconds after you see everybody scream, then the box will respawn. So depending on where you're standing and everyone else is standing, it's actually going to respawn on the same parameters as I just talked about. I like to call it the 40-16 system, but with this in mind, you can actually kind of control where the box is going to spawn. So if you walk back to the corner where you spawned and all 4 survivors are in the same exact spots that they just were, it's going to put it in the same exact spot as it was the first time, or at least around that area. It's not always going to be in the same exact spot because it looks at all of the potential actual spawns, because there are spawns, and it is actually going to put it in one of those spots. So it's best to check all of the spots, pay attention for the lightning electric sounds, and if you play on ultra graphics, you'll actually be able to notice it a lot easier. But there are times where it kind of spawns in the ground or in the grass and isn't making noise and it's hard to see. So it's not always going to be a perfect system, but basically after you get down the start of the game, getting it up the start of the game, using this build that I'm actually showing right now is going to be the best way to juggle the box. So the biggest part of it are actually going to be the add-ons. The add-ons we're going to be running, which are 2 of my favorite, are Larry's Remains and Frank's Heart. Frank's Heart extends your casting range by 8 meters. So you're going to actually be able to place your gateway up to 24 meters away from you, which is huge. And your next add-on is actually going to be Larry's Remains. Larry's Remains is also really good for this strategy because it adds 2 extra seconds to the solve time, putting the solve time from 6 seconds by default to 8 seconds. That 2 extra seconds makes the difference a lot, like a lot. And the reason you want to run Frank's Heart over, let's say, because I know some of you might say, oh, why not just run double solve time? Because there are plenty of times and many of maps that you're not really going to be able to get very close to that survivor because they might be solving very far away from you. This extra range makes way bigger of a difference than having double solve time. You don't need this extra 1 second. This extra 2 seconds is usually more than enough. Now, it's not a perfect system. The maps can kind of make a big deal. Like if you're on an indoor map, then it might be a little bit harder. But with these add-ons, it's going to be very easy. And then the actual build we're going to be running is probably the strongest box juggling build. So, and I'm going to build this build around the idea that you are going to use it. So we're going to be using barbecue and chili. And this is good because after I steal the box from someone and hook them, I'm actually going to see who is running towards the box, and I'm going to be able to walk over to them and interrupt them. Now, you don't need barbecue to do this, but it definitely makes it easier. And Lethal Pursuer is going to extend that time by an extra 2 seconds. And of course, Lethal Pursuer itself is actually going to give us an ability to see where everyone is at the start of the game. We're gonna hope that they don't have distortion, because distortion is very popular right now, and it actually really makes it hard sometimes to see where the box is going to be with these add-ons and perks. Well, mostly perks because these are the aura reads. But with that being said, this is definitely the best training wheel setup, and they're just nice to have if you kind of don't want to think a little too much when playing Pinhead when box juggling. You still have to think a little bit, but these make it way easier. And once you get good at this, you actually won't need these anymore, and it makes it a lot easier without it. And then the other two are going to be basically our slowdowns while we're juggling the box. So we're going to be running Sloppy Butcher, which allows us to make healing take longer, but that's not the big one. The big part is actually the fact that we're giving them Hemorrhage, and Hemorrhage makes it so that they actually lose heal progress if they're interrupted while healing, which chain hunts do that. You literally cannot heal during a chain hunt unless you have some really strong perk or heal items that allow you to heal quickly. And Dead Man Switch is going to be every time that we take the box from someone and hook them, they're not going to be able to do gens. Like sometimes a lot of people, or I say more people as of late, I've noticed, are trying to do gens even while the chain hunt is going, which is kind of smart. Obviously the gens are going to be kind of slow, but they're still going to be getting progress on them. But this is going to make it so they can't do that. You hook somebody during a chain hunt, the gen's going to get blocked. It's just going to yoink them off. So this is probably one of the best box juggling builds. It used to be Hoarder. You could have like replaced Sloppy with Hoarder, but at this point, that doesn't work anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna show you a couple games with this, and yeah. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll talk about a little bit of the strategy during the game and give you like a perfect idea of what's going on. Now, one thing to keep in mind that I also want to talk about is the fact that it has gotten a bit harder to juggle the box with the recent patch that they gave towards actually making the AI chains not interrupt the person who's solving the box. So this is actually a lot harder to do now than it was. And a lot of people think this strategy is like super broken and OP and Pinhead's got to get nerfed. This takes actually a bit of practice and is actually kind of difficult to pull off. So, but I do encourage you to give it a try and actually for yourself, see if you can get it to work. So we're loading into the game. And this is an all right map for it. So let's hope they don't have distortion. So I see all 4 survivors. The box is probably going to be somewhere on this side of the map. We're going to check Shack really fast. And yep, here it is. So it could have been anywhere between Shack and kind of over here. So they just screamed. So the box is now going to spawn over there. Yeah, this might not be worth it because she is far. I'd rather chase somebody who's on this side of the map. I should be seeing a player run around here in just a moment. That was a good dodge. Now this is very hit and run type gameplay. Now one of the other things too while doing box hunting is you got to remember that you can actually track people pretty easily while doing this, because you can look at the chains. Okay, cool. Now it looks like someone's trying to come and take hits for her, which is actually pretty smart. So we're gonna just hit her, give her Sloppy. Box, if I can pick up quick enough, I can force it into about the same spot that it was before. Yes, okay, cool. So it should be in that corner again. There is a small chance that it's going to be in front of us, but this is where barbecue comes in. Looks like they're just doing the gen. I see Deadman Switch just pulled them off. Okay, we're gonna get our sloppy 2. And that should be death. Yeah, cool. And none of them are going to be able to heal right now. And I believe the box is over here. There is a small chance it's in that other corner, but it's more likely that it's over here. Yeah, it's over here. See, this just told me it's over here. Yeah, see, it's right here. There's no reason to pick that up. No reason to pick that. I actually will pick it now, though, because otherwise they will come over here. I'm just going to do that just because why not? So it's going to spawn on that side of the map. That was smart. I'm actually going to slug her for a moment because there is a good chance that they're going to try and pick up the box. It should be over here, yeah. Well, this is Nia. I'm going to guess it's over here. Yeah, it's right here. Alright, yep. Yeah, it's not looking too good for them, honestly. So they're probably going to get that person up, but that's totally okay. So we're going to pick up here. Okay. So they are both going to the left, because the box is going to be in that corner over there. I'm going to use this for a bit of information. Yeah, she's trying to go for the box. Ooh, it's in the center of the map. That's really weird. That's a very odd spawn. Yep. That should be death. And if they try to work on gens right now, yep, that's just gonna block in a few seconds. Yep. At this point, they're trying to ignore it. I just hear someone over here trying to go for the box, so we are going to kill them. Part of box logic is also just controlling where the box is. Yeah, she has off the record. Okay. We should have time. At this point, it also kind of whittles people down, but their problem is they kind of let me start doing this a little too easily. So I'm actually going to pick this up just to keep it more interesting. Okay, it's going to be in that corner right there. No, didn't go around the corner. Oh, nice. You know what we're going to do? I'm actually going to go for the box. Or it should be right here in the corner. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it was. It was on this side of the map, but interesting. We should still be able to stop that. Very easily with these add-ons. Very, very easily. Yep. Okay. We do this, and then we hook her. And those gens, they get blocked. So the box should be here. We'll see exactly where it is in a few seconds. Ooh, looks like it's probably going to be a high chance it's going to be over there. Very high chance it's going to be over there. don't have our power, sadly. Yep. And because we're Vile Reaper, we are going to slug for that 4K. And unfortunately, she gave us away with the snowman. Thanks, snowman. Oh, GG. And I'm gonna see if I can pick up the box in the corner too, just to show you guys that it should be in that corner. And I'm glad it did show you at least one example of a really, really weird spawn. Because it spawned in the middle of the map when it made more sense to spawn in the corner. But hey, it's not gonna be perfect all the time. So yeah, it is right there in the corner. Here, so when it picked this spawn, it had an option to spawn it anywhere in this entire corner. So it could have spawned it right here in this tile. It could have spawned it right there, or it could have spawned it around this tree. So it's not 100% perfect. It's not going to be like, oh, it's going to be in this corner. And look at that. Paid actors. Paid actor hatch. But assuming that person was still hooked there, there would be the most likely spawn for it to be after that, assuming that it didn't just trigger right now, but it would probably be by Shaq. Or in the other corner, but the other person was dead, so it was hard to say, but assuming those two were still alive, it would probably be by Shaq, if they were both still on hook. Alright, so that's basically box logic in a nutshell. Just watching this video, I hope it kind of helps you understand a little bit better what you're supposed to do in this situation, but I also want to talk about what you're supposed to do against it. Now, when I watched Hens' video on it, there were a lot of people in the comments that were throwing an absolute tantrum over this mechanic. You can deal with this mechanic very easily. Now, the first big thing to talk about is the Pinhead needs to be good in order to do this. Now, if you were to say this maybe like a year and a half ago, it was a lot easier to do when Hoarder was still available to use against the box. When you would pick up the box, it would reveal its location and you could walk over to it very easily. But now you actually have to use aura perks in order to do this, and obviously a lot of aura perks, they don't just automatically trigger. You have to do things, except for lethal, but that only works for the first few moments of the start of the game, and then after that, that's it. But what you're supposed to do against this is you're supposed to pick up the box, and you're supposed to make sure you pick it up when you know Pinhead isn't nearby, and then you hide. You actually hide. So if you are wasting his time and keeping the teammates from getting hit by chains, they're actually going to be completely fine. It's all about wasting time, and if Pinhead does find you, you start throwing pallets. Because if you can get Pinhead to waste too much time at the start of a game trying to go for the box, then you're actually going to buy your teammates enough time to usually do the gens, or do enough gens that they can actually then kind of just sit on gens even during the chain hunt, as long as somebody's wasting enough time and actually get the gens done. And this has happened to me. Like, people do beat me sometimes when I am playing Pinhead, even when I am box juggling, because they have a really good chase against me and I make a few little mistakes with my M2, and before you know it, they've done 3 gens, and now I'm in a lot of trouble because I only have 1 or 2 hooks or something along those lines. It's kind of like Oni a little bit, maybe a little more punishing in certain aspects, but it's like Oni where if someone is basically making it so that that first chain hunt can't happen very easily, then it becomes a lot harder, and I'm wasting a lot more time basically just taking 1v1 chases. But that's how you do box logic. You want to hide. If you get into chase, you want to waste time, and you don't want to really take hits for your teammates with the box unless you just have like a brief moment to go out of your way. You want to be doing gens. You want to be doing gens. And if the Pinhead is juggling the box, he starts juggling, you want to pick that up when you know he's not nearby, and you just want to hide. You want to get into a locker. You want to do whatever you can to basically just waste his time. And it works. It does work. I can tell you it does work, because I do lose to people actually doing this sometimes. So don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to try it. But other than that, I hope this video actually was a bit informative. I hope you enjoyed the content. I know it was only 1 game, but it was honestly a really perfect example. So yeah, other than that, take care guys, peace out, and see you in the next one.